Alright, ladies and gentlemen, what the fuck is going on? So, if you couldn't tell, it was really burdening me having that sex magic open. Like, I had that on my phone for a while, I had to get it out, I didn't know what to do, so, not my best video, but you know, it's doing fairly well. For seeing and whatever, shit, people seeing it and all that. It's just that kind of important information that I can't speak much on, because I'm not, you know, I'm just not at that level. Like, I use my sex magic to manifest, and I've got so many successes with using ejaculation to manifest my sigils, any kind of magic, really. So for me to sit there and tell people you should only masturbate twice a week, or have sex, jerk off, whatever, twice a week, if you're 30, men, not women. Women can do as much as they want. Another reason why women have got it great. But that being said, women got it pretty shitty too sometimes. You know, if you think about the period, giving the birth, how men get sleep with a lot of women, and it doesn't matter if women do that, they get branded a slut kind of shit. You know, those things really piss me off too, by the way. But probably because mostly I have two girls. But you know, I have two girls. I married a girl who was pregnant in high school. Who people probably thought that about. You know, I'm that hero type guy that goes after those damsels in distress, except that with my current wife, she wasn't a damsel. When I met her, she was proud of who she was, and there was no having to fix her. She didn't have any trauma from people fucking thinking she was a slut. She went to high school, she got her diploma, she went to college, she landed a great job, we own a house, we own cars, you know what I mean? She was no damsel, which is, you know, thank God for that, because I'm telling you right now, if you're one of those guys who has a girl who's damaged, and you think you're going to save her, I'm here to tell you it's not going to happen. Not going to happen. She has to save herself. Everybody has to save themselves. Everybody, you know? But that's the thing, like, I'm not saying that if you're damaged and she's damaged, you guys can't cohabitate, you guys can't coexist, but don't think you're going to fix her instead of fixing your life. And don't think she's going to fix you instead of fixing her own life. Y'all need to fix each other's fucking lives. And you can do it in this cooperative manner where you help each other out by fixing each other's own lives. You influence the other one to do better. For example, I stopped doing drugs. I stopped doing drugs. I started working on my curriculum. I start working now. I start doing this kind of work, you know, what I'm doing, trying to advance career-wise, taking care of my kids, taking care of responsibility, stop blaming people and taking ownership, all that kind of shit. And, you know, it's starting to wear off. Like, my wife has transformed phenomenally, but it's not just her that transformed, it's me that transformed. I had to transform. I can't expect her to get better just because I'm looking at stuff that's, you know, see, this happens often, okay? What happens often, right? People start looking at truth, sometimes conspiracy, truth, magic, and they know it's transformational information, great information, shit that like blows your mind when you see it, changes your life. It's great. But because you watch it, you identify with it, you identify with the people that are talking about it, yet you haven't actually started anything. And then you go to your loved ones and tell them they need to fucking change, which is ridiculous because you haven't even changed yet. All you did was watch a few videos and you're telling them they need to fucking change. I mean, that's, you know, and I'm not judging. I did it. I did it to my wife. I did it to my wife. I did it to my wife. I did it to my mom. I did it to my sister. I did it to my kids. I did it to myself, most importantly. Telling myself I was something that I wasn't yet, you know, armchair occultism, pretending I'm more fucking advanced than I am. Been there, done that, got the fucking t-shirt and the fucking prison time. But once you actually put forth the work, start doing the work, it starts to manifest. Both internal, external, and the lives of the ones you love and the ones you're around constantly. It's just one of those byproducts. Once again, it took a while to get it in my wife's head. Like I said, I'm on my 5th year of going through this spirituality, truth, whatever, new age of attraction, new age law of attraction, magic. But the magic only started like 2 years deep into this path. Right? Like after my first full year, then I started getting into ceremonial magic, and then I started going down my own roots to see if my family did anything, whatever. So then I remember all the stories about my grandmother being labeled a witch and having these supernatural abilities, which weren't crazy, but I mean, she could read tea leaves, she could heal people, she could get premonitions, all that shit, you know. Told that she shouldn't practice it because she was a devout Catholic. Like, most of the people from my family line that I know were Catholics. Why? Well, because Catholics were killing witches, so you had to pretend to be a Catholic. That's way back. But like, more recently, my grandmother, she died like, I don't know, let's say 18 years ago, maybe less. I was probably 15 or 14. I'm now 34, so yeah, about that. She's not that old. It's like this lifetime, you know. She saw cell phones. I can't quite remember if she saw cell phones. I mean, I'm sure big cell phones were out, but they weren't like today. She definitely didn't see Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or like that. But I mean, VCRs, DVDs, the Macarena, like big Elvis Presley fan. Was my grandmother. So, point is, I mean, she was a fucking devout Catholic, picture of Jesus and all that. I mean, she had her issues with some of the Catholic Church because of some of her issues with her children not being able to get married in the Catholic Church, but so maybe not devout. So that might be the wrong term because I can't really state 100%. But I know, like, she had pictures of Jesus on the wall, and when bad things would happen, that Jesus picture would fall. It'd be her own projection, right? She was a fucking witch. So the things that she considered holy were holy items. Doesn't matter if you consider Jesus holy or not. To somebody who has these abilities, whether they're a good source or a bad source, whether they're good witch, bad witch, Catholic witch, or fucking black magic fucking witch, whatever you want to call it, that Jesus picture is holy to them. It's a holy item. You can say that's not holy. He's trying to victimize you, and he's da. Yeah. Can you say your projection much? Like, get over yourself. Just because that's how it works for you doesn't mean that works for everybody like that. And I'm not saying you're wrong. The shit does make people victim mentality and turn them into all that. I get it. Yeah. But it doesn't have to. I was programmed by it. I still only have programming. I don't necessarily have to go piss on a Jesus fucking crucifixion and be like, I hate you, Catholic Church, just to prove a point. Like, I can look at the Bible stories and not be programmed by them, but still able to do magic, and you can fight that all you want, but you just be yourself like an idiot because you're making a big deal out of it. So it's a big deal to you. You're probably still programmed by it because you're triggered by it. You feel the need to always lash out at it. It's not a big deal, man. The less of a big deal you make it, the less of a big deal it becomes. My wife, always making money a big deal. Money a big deal. It took a long time to get her on board. Now that she's on board, she never worries about money. We never have to worry about money. Ever. Worry about programming Catholic this and they're fucking doing it to you, blah, blah, blah. It's because you're still programmed and triggered by them. Get over that shit. Let it go. So you can actually move on from it. You're still trying to figure out how to deprogram from it. Yeah, you're trying to teach people how to do it. It's like, you're clearly fucked up by it. Like, let it go. If it wasn't bugging you, if it didn't bug you, it wouldn't bug you. Come out there and tell people how to deprogram from it, that'd be it. You would feel the need to diss them every chance you get. People will come to that truth on their own. But for you to go out there and do a smear campaign and actively go against it so much and say all this shit, it's just like, man, you're crystal clear. Folks, anyways, what to talk about today? What was I talking about? I don't even know anymore. Oh yeah, so when you change yourself, others change as default, as just the way it works. I said it in a few videos ago. If we were to all focus on our own lives, we wouldn't have any problems. The problem lies when there's people that want to fix everybody else's life, pretend their lives are perfect, yet they're not perfect, but they want to play that right to the end because they don't want anybody to know that they're really fucked up. Whenever all they have to really do is fix their own life, and then they would start getting the results they wanted, and then they could actually make the real videos and real channels and not have to worry about putting out bullshit. But instead of that, they're just going to keep fucking dumping the bullshit on it and whatever else. It doesn't matter. The point is, though, you want to fix your life, then fix your life. You don't want to fix your life, you want to sit there and be a little victim, bitch, crying, whining, blaming, well, do it. but it's not going to serve you. And you got no right to fucking go blame other people for your fucking problems. You won't take action and fix the things you can fix. I'm sure there's bad guys in bad places doing bad things, and there's corruption, and there's all this bad shit. Absolutely. 100%. You're absolutely right. They're not fucking you up. You're fucking you up. Let's get that straight. They're not fucking you up. They're fucking up other things. And if anything, they're probably helping more people than they're fucking up. But even if they're not helping more people than they're fucking up, they're definitely helping more people than you are. See, by definition, most of these people in high places help some people fuck over others. And they keep a balance. If there is such a thing, they keep a balance. That's one of those occult secrets. You keep a balance of just as many people that you help as you fuck over, and then you're in equilibrium and you can get away with it. I wonder why they're getting away with it. Well, that's why. Cause and effect, man. It's a real law. It's not karma. It's not if you do something bad that I think is bad, you're gonna get fucked. It's like, whose idea of bad it is? Well, they have an idea of bad, but you can justify it. And that's how people justify it. Their own ideas. Okay, I may have hurt these people, but I was able to help these people. Therefore, I'm okay. They look up, we forgot to strike them down, yet it's their own internal fucking guidelines. And they passed because they justified it. Whoop, there it is. That's all they need to do. So you can do the same by simply starting to help yourself. Then you start getting a little money, you help charity. And guess what? You're going to propel yourself up. It's a simple fucking formula. You just need the balls to do it. Just kidding, you're going to give out money, you're not going to get it back. Well, first do it all your incoming karma, which is because you think karma is a real thing. You think that because you did bad acts, you're going to have bad return to you. But you're not wrong, but it doesn't actually work like that. But you're not wrong. That is going to happen because you, up until this point, you believe that that was true. So it's been infallibly true for you. And now that it's no longer true, you get that in your head. It's just every action has an equal and opposite reaction, or the same reaction, whatever the case may be. Every action has a reaction. Now, it doesn't mean that's always equal and opposite. But you can control that by your own judgment. Blah, 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 blah. That being said, fuck was I doing with that? Fuck. I don't know. Anyways, oh yeah. So, by taking care of your life and fixing the things you can fix. You know, because all these people that are doing stuff to you, they're not doing anything to you. You got a million things you can fix right now. From the pile of fucking dishes, or the dirt, or the fucking papers, or the extra work you never did, putting off. All those things that you can do. Go do them. Get out of the way. Stop having that fucking weight on your mind, you know? Supposed to do something for your husband or your wife and you haven't did. Go do it. Get it off your fucking chest. And go back to you're not doing homework with your kids, or you don't think you're acting up. Go spend time with them. Do it. All these things will clear up this emotional garbage you're holding on to because you're doing bad. You're just too fucking lazy to fucking do anything about it. So the trick is, if you go do something about it, then you don't have to worry about it anymore. It's very simple.
All right. Yeah, you wouldn't, old witchcraft books, old, not really Book of Shadows, but, well, I guess Book of Shadows would count, but a lot of books where old different mages, magicians, witches, and even new ones like Birch, and especially Frederick Xavier. There's a whole lot of power in cleaning up your clutter, getting rid of all your old stuff you don't use that you're just hanging on to, keeping your floors fucking clean, just making your bed. I mean, this is one of the reasons why Jordan Peterson in his 12 Rules for Life book, a lot of the simple steps like stand up straight, make your bed, clean your room, shit like that, works. I mean, this is in old witchcraft fucking books, old magic books, keeping your space clean, you know. You know, I'm under the impression there's a lot of things from the Bible that come from either older traditions. And, you know, I mean, as just a fast example, King Solomon, he bounded all those demons, 72 demons. So you can look at that as, okay, King Solomon was polytheistic because he worshipped many gods. Jehovah was just one of them. and that's in the Old Testament. So either that Old Testament was another book, Canaanite, or another religion, and they transferred it over. So, or this was in the process of being transferred over. But either way, King Solomon was a great wise king who did a lot. His dad was David, for God's sakes. But the point I'm trying to get at is there's old stuff in the Bible that translates into magic. Well, one of those other sayings that are very powerful, like, as so it shall be written, so it shall be done. Well, cleanliness is next to godliness. Now, it's not stated like that in the Bible, but there's many spots where that comes from. And as far as I can remember, it comes from one of those bodies of work, one of the Bibles I've read, and you see it other places. Well, there's a lot of truth to that. Keeping your windows clean for things to be able to come through to you, keeping your house clean, keeping your clothes. There's a lot of power in all that stuff. There's so many of these little techniques you can do. And this is another reason why, if it's like, oh, fuck, okay, he's on this spiel, like he's not even teaching me magic, he's telling me to clean up my house, like that's going to bring me the money I need. It's like, man, you don't have to believe me, but at least take it from a different perspective. It's not about just cleaning your room and being responsible. It's literally about making room for things to come, having the good spirits there, not the spirits of negativity. You look at it from many different ways. Like the reason why you're too lazy to do the dishes or clean your floor or whitewash your windows is because maybe there's a thought form there nagging at you, like, we'll do it later, I don't want to do that right now, blah, 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 blah. Well, if you go against that, you'll slowly train that thought form to leave by cleaning your house and all that. And then you invite the good thought forms in and say, okay, he did this, now what's the next thing we can get him to do that will benefit him? It's just another way to look at it. But anyways, all this is just to say that there's a lot of power and truth in the fact that if you change your life, you focus solely on fixing your life, you will literally fix everybody else's around you. Instead of saying, I don't want to fix my life, it's too hard, but I can point and pass judgment on all these other people and tell them where they need to fix their life. Which is true. It's easier to look from the outside to point people's flaws out. But just because you can see where they're flawed doesn't mean you should be telling them what to do. Now, it means more if you have your life in order. You know what I mean? I'm one of the newest guys on my job site. I'm one of the guys who just got in there who probably knows the least. But when we're working, it's a different dynamic. I'm there, I'm listening, I'm learning. I look up to these guys, I respect them. But when we're all shooting the shit either on lunch or after work, they ask me lots of questions. Why? Because I own my house, I own my car, I've got lots of children. I'm 34 years old. I'm the oldest guy on there, but that's still pretty young to own property, a house, have 4 kids, be married, have a car. You know what I mean? And being able to drive an hour and 20 minutes to these work sites and pay the $150 on gas a week and still have enough money to put money aside in the bank. My wife's got a career. So they ask me questions. They look up to me in a manner of speaking. Like, they don't look up to me as someone like a role model, but they're like, how did he do it? How did he do it? And these are some of the ways I've been doing it. I mean, when I started this magic path, to say I was struggling would be an understatement. And it wasn't me so much struggling because I knew everything was going to be okay. Once I got out of the fear-based crap and I started the magic, I knew everything was going to be okay. I just had to wait and take my lessons on one by one and get through them. Now, I had no idea how strong and powerful and how hard some of these lessons might be. Like, for example, from as small and simple as money issues that I had to convince my wife it's going to be okay. Everything's always going to be okay. We're always going to keep on keeping on. And now it's a much easier conversation, which we barely ever have, by the way. But you go back 2 years ago, or even like prior to the summer that just passed, last summer that just passed, was a pretty hard conversation. And now it's like a simple conversation. But the point is, from simple little problems like that to the almost getting divorced and her leaving me, to me almost relapsing many times on drugs because I was so depressed. But I always knew things were going to get better, and if I could just get through this day, this moment, this hour, these few minutes, and just hold on. And that's not with pushing things aside. Like, I dealt with them, and like I had many days where I was upset with her, and I had questions about why and what she was doing and what she saw in him and all these things. And I can't keep that in, not even if I wanted to. Like, when I preach, like, don't keep anything in, I mean it. Like, you can ask her. Same with my son. I told you the story that one day where he was sitting on the couch and not listening to me, and I kept coming outside to get away from him to cool down, but then I'd come back in with something else to say to him, like an attack. in an attempt to get a response out of him. And it wasn't until I threatened him with not going to school whenever school starts back up, no baseball, taking your phone, no Wi-Fi, blah, 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 that I finally passed my negative charge onto him. I had all these negative emotions pent up, thoughts and emotions, and the action I was taking was trying to pass on that negative charge, and he was just sitting there quietly. And it wasn't until I successfully passed on that negative charge to him that I was neutralized again, and he was negatively charged, but it motivated him to get up and do the fucking chores he was supposed to do instead of just sitting there like, no, I got the power, you're pissed off, and I'm nice and calm right here. Kids aren't stupid. No, they're not. It's narcissists and a bunch of crazy things I heard someone else say not that long ago. But nonetheless, they're not stupid. But anyways, all that's to say is I am very much the kind of a person that can't keep anything in. If it's bugging me, it comes out. But those lessons were grandiose, and I knew I'd get through them. But having my wife there and her not knowing that we'd get through them, and her debating like, is Corey fucking crazy? What's going on? It wasn't until I stopped preaching at her and playing with things out loud, and when I decided to stop only focusing on this like it's the most important thing, and showing her that my family and work and everything else is more important, and this is a passion, that she opened up to this, and now she sees it. She's doing these things on Noom, I think it's called, and it's a health guide nutrition thing that comes with psychology lessons to help you with the psychology of successful. They don't even call it dieting necessarily, which is very important if you are trying to diet, to not call it dieting, by the way, but I won't get into that. I talked about that in a really old episode. Anytime you say diet, it tells your body, oh shit, there's a lack of food. So your body actually craves more sweets, because sweets means you're going to put on more fat for the winter. It's almost like this primal, this instinctive thing that happens whenever you start saying, I got to diet. You start showing your body you're not taking in as much of that stuff. It's telling your body symbolically that, holy fuck, there's a lack of food. We're going into winter. We better fatten up so we have enough skin to get through this, which means fat. So saying dieting is not always smart. But she's learning. Like, I never thought I would see her learning psychology and taking my advice and not worrying about money, but it's happened. Why? Because I focused on myself. I stopped trying to change all my outside exterior things. I stopped trying to actually use my magic to change the outside so I wouldn't have to change me. And I decided, fuck it, I'll change me. And then the internal alchemy manifested outwardly into my beautiful sorcery that is changing my life. Anyways, this is going to be a short video today. I'm not going to get into too much more, but I am going to play something, and I don't like playing new stuff from my most valued and favorite mentor, Frederick Xavier. But there's three very important things. Oh, shit. There's three very important things that is said in his newest episode, his newest mailbag, that I want to get into. Before I get into that, I said I wasn't going to do this. It was going to be for the people who actually listen to the whole sex magic video. But, because I know most people don't look at the description of a video, right? I mean, some do. But if you didn't see my sex magic video, look in the description. I put a bunch of books from Mantak Chia. And as soon as I get the chance, in this video, I'm going to put the PDF for Kabbalah and the Great Work of Cell Transformation. And I'll probably do that for my next video. Now, I'm still going to keep going on healing magic. But I'm going to try to have more structure and organization when it comes to this, so that instead of just waiting for random thoughts to come to me or having to watch videos for things, or whenever I wake up with this great idea, throughout the day I just keep thinking about what I should talk about, and then I get all this information, which is great, and I love doing it like that. But I want to try to have more structure in case I ever do get to the point where potentially when I get further down in my curriculum where I can actually teach and maybe do a paid program. But I want to do like a trial run for that. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to continue my healing magic as far as I'm concerned. Like I said before, my son is no longer epileptic. I've been smoking for a decade, and I had lower carbon monoxide levels in my body than anybody else I worked with that were non-smokers. Obviously, the smokers too had higher levels, and mine were like very, very low. And I believe that has to do with my breathing and my exercises. So everything that I know that I'm able to heal myself or helped heal my kids, or any success I've had with healing, I'm going to put out there. Now that I got through all the main things that you have to do, which are not of a magical nature, of just like all the little techniques with sex, all the different breathings, the right type of food, which also played in the last episode a little bit what he said about the fear toxins with the cows. Any big animals that have more chakras will have a fear chakra, meaning when they die, they intake fear, and therefore you're taking in those toxins. So you're better off to eat your smaller animals. At the very least, maybe limit your beef, your cow, and look up maybe some Chinese, I don't know if it would be under mythology or philosophy or anatomy of the animals, but how you would be able to find out which animals have which chakras. So you could get a list of what kind of animals are safe to eat, which obviously chicken and fish we know for sure because we heard Mantak Chia talk about it. But I got into the water, the emotions, the psychology, the cells, the electricity, how to diagnose the teeth problems, all the Jerry Tennant stuff, everything I know that has to do with it, not to mention my older videos, the science of breath, the yogi Hindu science of breath, the sorcerer's secrets, and which has a lot of breath techniques in there. And there was another one, I think it was Qigong and Kunjian, which also has a lot to do with all this stuff, the microcosmic orbit to Qigong and all these different things. I'm done with all that, so I'm going to continue the healing magic with specific spells and shit like that. And that'll be like, my videos. But what I want to do as my trial run, now I'm still from time to time going to spit stuff out there that needs to be spit. Definitely comments. So if I have a small video, I'll add the comment to my smaller video. If not, I will just do a big video. Or I'll just do a whole video on a comment and just keep them smaller. But what I want to get into is Kabbalah, the Great Work of Self-Transformation. Now, the next few days, I'm going to figure out how I'm going to go about it. Because technically, maybe I should read the book. I read the book, but I want to do a play-by-play of the book and how to teach it. How to start the initiation. And what things that, I think everything in the book is important, but less important to more important. Like I said, I've done different spells and different techniques now, and there's some things I didn't do that worked out for me. There's some things that when I didn't do, nothing worked, and then when I did do them, so I kind of have a gauge and a scale of what's important, what's not important. But I can break down the first Neophyte grade, and I can break down the Earth grade, and I can break down the current grade that I'm in right now. And as I progress, and I can do the teachings and the specific books that you're supposed to read. Maybe I can summarize those to help people out because I think it's important. And if it's because of laziness and all that, well, maybe if I jumpstart people and they see it as, he's going to help me do the work, and, I get them involved. Once they start seeing results, maybe it'll motivate them more to do it. And this will also help me have a kind of structure for teaching going forward for potentially in the future if I decide to do stuff like this. So yeah, that's kind of my plan right now I'm going to finish my healing magic, and potentially if I end up finishing my healing magic, I have nothing to say on that, then maybe start a different separate series. Maybe it's just manifestation of money, maybe it's whatever the case is. Maybe it's just simple philosophies, because I do like to talk about the ideas and why certain techniques work. And maybe I'll get into that maybe as I'm doing this Kabbalah, Great Work, Self-Transformation, actual step-by-step, reading the book and how I interpret, doing the first full chapter. And then, because within the first chapter, there's many things, like there's your whole ritual practice that you have to learn and memorize and have by heart. There's having the temple room, or at least a place to put an altar. There's the reading, the assigned reading you have to do. There's certain assignments and projects. There's the adorations of the sun. So there's many things I can break down step by step. So I'm going to start off, I'm going to figure out how I'm going to do this, and it's going to be coming in the works. So for however long it takes me to figure out how I'm going to start this and how I'm going to present it, and I'm sure it's going to be a work in progress. As I present it, I'll probably tweak it and change things. So, but I'll be doing the healing magic, and any other comments or any other things that come along, I will be working with. But since it's my system now, in addition to this, depending on how far I get, maybe I do the first full initiation, and then I decide to maybe not do the second part. Maybe it's better off if people do the Earth grade by themselves, because if people don't do the Neophyte, and then I start teaching the Earth stuff with the greater ritual of the hexagram, which reduces the planetary effects on you, and people decide to just start there instead of doing the Neophyte, which I'm sure that would work for some people. But I don't think so. I think it's structured in a very important way. And so there might be a gap in between that, but it'll still take me a while to get further through the first initial Neophyte. But maybe after a very close to a 6-month period, it might be safe for me to start the next one. But I might do a self-deification. How do you start witchcraft? In my opinion, how did I start working with Hecate? What are the things that I do that are separate from Kabbalah, the Great Work of Self-Transformation. Which things did I add in there to combine them both to make my practice as amazing as it is now? So stuff like that. So before I go any further, I'm going to play Frederick Xavier's newest video, which he hits on 3 things here. Sorry about that, I got cut off. My daughter called me from my wife's phone, and I thought it was my wife's. I'm like, hey, sexy, and it's my fucking 9-year-old. I'm like, you're not my sexy, you're my baby. She's like, I'm not a baby. Anyways, so first thing he talks about is Enochian Magic. Someone asked him why he's not going to do a program, and this is where he endorses the book Kabbalah, Great Work of Self-Transformation. So that's why obviously I'm playing it, because what I'm just talking about. The next thing is, there's one that's about the lesser banishing of the Pentagram and why it's a banishing, but we're turning clockwise, which is the way to invoke. I think that's important information. Plus, it's one of the exercises you do in your Neophyte. And there's one more that he plays, and I can't remember, talks about, and I can't remember what it is. But anyways, I probably won't play it completely. I'm going to start it right where I need to start it, and I might chime in between, just so it's not, because I want people to go watch Frater's videos. I don't want to put Frater videos here so I get the hits. That's not the point. It's just, he's been so influential and so important to me. It's just, I seriously do this out of love and adoration. And I mean, I'm not saying I love the man, but I'm saying I have so much respect and so much emotion and gratitude that I can never do enough for him taking the steps he took to teach everybody what he's teaching. You know, it's incredible. If it wasn't for him, I'd probably still find my way here, but I don't know. Anyways, it doesn't matter what would have happened. What matters is what did happen. And so that's why I bought, I think, 7 of his fucking programs just to, you know, just to give back. I subscribed to his service for quite a while. I'm not currently subscribed to it at the moment because focusing more on me, but still, nonetheless, I would totally and promote. And you know, if you had to pick between watching me or him for some reason, go watch him straight up. But if you can watch both, then watch both. But I don't do it out of anything other than love, and that's why I never put it in the title, Frederick Xavier's video or anything like that. It's just strictly to teach and to talk about it, and there's nothing I've ever said bad about the man, except for maybe whenever COVID first hit, but that's a whole different ball game, and that was more about me than him. So anyways, without further ado, here we go.
Will you ever make a program on Enochian magic? Well, I never like to say never, and I never like to say ever, because things can always change. I can say this much: there are no plans for an Enochian magic program at this time. The reason being, and my concern with it would be, that Enochian magic may be a little steep for some people. It's certainly not the shallow end of the pool. And if I put out a program on it, then people would be like, oh, I could just jump right into Enochian magic and just dive right into the deep end of the pool without knowing how to swim. That's not to say that my programs are elementary. There are advanced things within my programs. The entire course of Kabbalah, Magic, and the Great Work of Self-Transformation by Liam Thomas Christopher, which takes many years to get through and complete. That entire curriculum, that entire course, is designed to prepare you to perform Enochian magic and spirit evocation by proxy. In each of the elemental grades, you're working with the Enochian elemental tablet that corresponds with that grade. And then in the grade of portal, you get the tablet of union and you bring it all together. And then you are ready to start learning and practicing Enochian magic. In my experience, it's not something that one just jumps into. As well as I explain things, 1 hour of listening to me in a program does not equate to several years of practice and study. Now, does that mean I'll never put out anything on Enochian magic or ever talk about it? No. But as it stands at this moment, if you really want to learn Enochian magic and ease into it the correct way, I recommend getting Liam Thomas Christopher's book, Kabbalah, Magic, and the Great Work of Self-Transformation by Liam Thomas Christopher. And that will put you on the correct path. And for those not willing to put in the 4 or 5 years needed to complete the curriculum, you should probably stay away from Enochian magic altogether. There are other types of magic that you can do. And thanks for the question.
All right, so, you know, he puts things so perfectly. There's nothing I can add to that. But, you know, if I can, I'm going to add some screenshots. You probably already saw them if I did. Or it could be right now or something. But The tablets that he's talking about, it's the big Enochian tablet, and it's got, divided into 4. Now, I have those in my temple room, one for each coordinating, one for the east, one for the east, one for the south, one for the west, one for the north. I have them all in there. Now, before I had them up on my wall, my magic was successful. I did some good things. However, after having them up, it really took off. And once again, I stack all my magic. So is it just one thing? Is it all these many things? Who knows? But there's power in these things. To the point where, like, when I was printing them, my printer would be all fucked up. So I'm like, okay, maybe it's just the ink. Switched ink cartridge, still coming all fucked up. Like, it took me a while to get them right. And to this day, they're still not right. I put them in frames, like picture frames. I had them like that. And I mean, each one of them broke the glass in front of it. And I mean, one of them I know about, like, it was, semi my fault, but still, it doesn't matter. But the other ones, like, the other 3, I came into my room and they were broken, like, not all the same day, different times. One I didn't even notice for like a week or so. Like, there was broken glass. I'm like, what the fuck did you guys break? And then when I opened my temple door, it was all by the door. It was the one of it would be the south. Mars, fire. Archangel Raphael. No, not those guys. But Enochian, it refers to John D. and Kelly. Is it John Kelly? No, something Kelly. Michael Kelly and John D. John D. being the astrologer, official astrologer, among many things with diplomatic immunity for Queen Elizabeth and shit like that. But that's what they're referring to. It's that system. That system was made years after, the first initial magicians and all that. But the birth of our beautiful intellect, conscious mind, we were able to expand our older ideas into something new. And some people say that's too intellectual, Western magic, blah, blah, blah. That's like, whatever, but stick to what's easy for you and we'll do the complicated, good stuff. But point is, like, it's like when I broke the first one, all the other ones had to match, and because they're all part of one, right? Anyways, just something I wanted to add to that. But what I played there was just mainly for him. Everybody knows he promotes that if they've ever watched his channel, and I know I don't need to keep saying it, but I will. Now remember what the next thing was, is about the conjunction, Jupiter and Saturn conjunction, and I love what he says about this, because these guys are Satan and Jesus, it's Saturn and Jupiter, expansion and restriction, and he does something great using his own programs that it's perfect. Someone asked him, I think, roughly, what's the best way to use these planets in my magic? And his answer is to not use them together. There's better combinations. Use them both separate. There's a reason they're on both opposite poles. The middle pillar has the sun, the moon, Gaia. Gaia's on the earth. Then it's the astral. That's the moon. That's our subconscious. Then it's the sun, the conscious. And then it's Pluto. And then it's Uranus. Okay. And on the right pillar, the positive pillar, mercy, and then severity, Yakin, Boaz. So on Yakin, the top is Neptune, then it's Jupiter, then it's Venus. On the opposite one is Saturn, Mars, and the trickster Mercury. That's the negative polar, and the positive polar I just said. So you've got positive versus negative, polar opposites. Now when you combine these two energies, you can use everything in the middle pillar. You can use all these planets in coordination. That still doesn't mean, though, now once again you can banish and invoke using, like I said, this middle pillar, this energy. So you would have to use these planets in coordination with each other. Banish something in your life and invoke something with Jupiter is how I would do it. But to combine these both together, you would have to find something that I'll let Frater say it.
Hey, what's your perspective on the conjunction? And this is referring to the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction that's going on. I'm not a fan of it. Well, the planets are enemies. What do enemies do when they meet? They usually fight. What happens when Satan and Jesus meet? Satan, Saturn, Jesus. Jupiter and Saturn are polar opposites in many respects. You have the planet of expansion and you have the planet of contraction. So in many ways, they're going to cancel each other out. I had someone ask me, what is the best way to harness the power of the conjunction for my planetary magic? And I told them there's probably better planet combinations you can use. Let's see what the 7 Planetary Powers program has to say about it. Here we have the keywords for both Saturn and Jupiter. Do you want to banish abundance, bind defenses, decrease your faith, limit growth, repel opportunities, restrict your wealth, increase your workload? If that sounds good to you, then it's a great time to do magic involving Jupiter and Saturn during this conjunction. Jupiter and Saturn are always at odds with one another, so I expect things to just fight and stall out where they're concerned. I think the conjunction only comes around like once every 20 years or so, which is honestly the biggest deal about it in my learned opinion. And I appreciate the question.
All right. Forgive me for having it sideways so you didn't get to see the Saturn correspondences. That wasn't done on purpose, but I'm also not going to fix it. If you want to go see them, so you have a copy of them and whatever. I mean, this is on his free channel. Go check out his video. I mean, so I'm not going to fix it because normally I would, but I don't ever want him to think I'm fucking trolling him and using him for my popularity, because I would hate for someone who's helped me out to think I was ever doing something baneful or harmful to his livelihood, because I'm not. So therefore I'm going to leave that sideways so it looks like amateur hour, and so if you want to go see it, you have to go look at his channel. Anyways, the last part.
Now, I don't have the screenshot offhand. Things do get buried rather quickly in my inbox, but I had made a note that that's a good question. I need to answer that one, where someone had asked, if the LBRP is banishing, then why do we perform it clockwise? Shouldn't we perform it counterclockwise? And it's a good question because it shows that they're thinking. They want to understand the reasons why behind things, which is a good thing. The reason you're having difficulty wrapping your mind around it is because the title is misleading. The LBRP, the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, is really telling you why you're doing it instead of telling you how you're doing it. So ignore the word banishing. Let's just call it the Lesser Ritual of the Pentagram for the moment. Instead of banishing and summoning, I want you to think in terms of manifesting and demanifesting. And if you've seen the Sunwise and Witterson's video, where I go into how the circle is actually a blueprint for manifestation, and depending on which direction you are circumventing it, you are symbolically manifesting or demanifesting. So by going clockwise, you're manifesting. So what are you manifesting in the Lesser Ritual of the Pentagram? The pentagrams. You are manifesting the astral pentagrams around you, around your circle, as a barrier of protection against low-level spirits and elementals. So it's less of a banishing ritual and more of a ward spell. That's why the title is a bit misleading. You're really putting up a wall to keep things out rather than commanding them to go away. In fact, by performing the LBRP, you may attract more things to you than you would otherwise, because it lights up the astral when you perform it. And things that wouldn't have seen you otherwise can now find you and are drawn to you like a moth to a flame. Now, they can't get past the barrier, but they're drawn to the barrier, to the pentagrams, which is why if you begin doing the LBRP, you need to continue doing the LBRP so that you keep that ward, that barrier up. Does that make sense? And I do appreciate the question, whoever had asked that one. Perhaps I'll find the comment before I edit this video, or we've got a lot more to come in 2021. Be sure to follow me on Facebook and Twitter. The social media links will be on the screen shortly. Be sure to visit the Teespring store. It's the last opportunity to save at 20% off. And also save up to 25% on my programs over at Gumroad, but time is running out. You may have a few hours left. Once again, this is Frederick Xavier. Thanking you for listening and wishing you a happy new year.
All right, last time I chime in, it was supposed to be a short video. I'm going to be approaching the fucking 45-minute mark probably. But anyways, so what he said about the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, it's manifestation and demanifestation. So there's so many things I can say about this. I've already said in previous episodes, and when doing my Kabbalah, Great Work Self-Transformation, Neophyte grades, and all the exercises that go along with it, making videos about this, the process, I'm going to do my best to do an order of what I think is most important. So for people that want to start it right away, what they need to know and how to start right away, the things they can start right away doing their Neophyte. So, you know, the 6 months can start as soon as they start the process, and then gradually start adding the exercises to it, but getting that. So First of all, the thing he said about the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. Now, I've heard him in other videos saying there's no harm in starting the Neophyte. It's if you start the elemental grades that if you can't stop once you start. Now, in this video, he says once you start doing the LBRP, you got to continue doing it. So, I think, and you do this ritual in the Neophyte. You're not calling anything to you in the sense of you're not working any spirits or anything like that. You're only pretending to go in the astral into your own mind, and you're putting up that barrier. So yeah, these things can see you and they be drawn to your pentagrams and all that. However, there's no need to fear this stuff, and I have a hard time thinking anybody who would start this would want to stop it once they got results. But nonetheless, it's still a warning. You heard it. So potentially even doing the Neophyte and stopping it could result in issues. Now, once again, spirits, thoughts, reject, banish, deny, first line of defense. Lesser banishing protects you against everything. The way I use it in normal ritual is it's got many meanings, but one of its meanings is to cleanse your space. You're banishing all the fucking thought forms that could be there, all the negative energy that could be there. You're purifying this room. That's why you do it from 6 months to a year in the Neophyte alone, in the same spot over and over and over again. It's so many levels that I couldn't even hit it all in one video. It would take an hour just to explain everything the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram does. But short version for beginners, when you open your circle, you're the first one you do. I generally do the banishing way, go the opposite way. And then at the end, I invoke. So I banish anything bad within me, purify me for the gods, the elements, the elementals, the watchers, everything that's around me. Before I want to call anything into me, before I bring the middle pillar energy, that center energy, putting my energy, the energy from the all being in front of the all, this being a beautiful and a very spiritual, almost like Christianity sacrament, but way higher than that, First thing I do is banish all my negativity, all my thoughts, everything, whatever. And then, because you're not supposed to actually manifest anything during your Neophyte, which everybody does, so don't feel bad if you do. And then, after I do the middle pillar and thank the god of the day or whatever I decide to do for my magic there, depending on if you follow the curriculum strictly, then you have your meditation and your meditation on tarot card and all that. And then you do your lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram again. And then I would do the invoking one at that point. But you can reverse this. You can invoke first and then banish away if you want. But I banish everything and then I invoke great energy and whatever else. And then you would close your circle. That's how I would do it. And that's why there's two different ways. But nonetheless, the lesser ritual of the pentagram is, the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram is because you invoke and you banish with that same ritual. But it's still banishing the negativity in that space, that room, which is also your mind. It's making this, everything is an extension of you. I started off this video by talking about how cleaning your house, cleaning your windows, all this shit will help you manifest things and bring things in your life, getting rid of the clutter, Same reason why you give money, you get money. Same reason why you give away stuff, you'll get more stuff. Same reason if you have a clean house, you get clean spirits. If you have a dirty house, you get dirty spirits. It's all the same kind of connect. Well, this is a spiritual way of cleansing that room, that altar, that space, your own mind. Okay? So many ways to look at it, but I'm not going to get into it all now because it would take me forever. But I have older videos on this. Anyways, nonetheless, that's the plan going forward. Still going to keep doing healing magic, specific rituals, and different things you can do. I'm going to start this program as soon as I figure out how, either in between, if I get stuck, if I get to a point where it's like, okay, I give you enough for now before I get to the next curriculum level, or before I present the next part, maybe I'll start doing the actual witchcraft deity stuff if I think it's okay to work. Because I don't want to give everybody too much, and because if I keep giving them the information, people are still going to take it in. But if they need to focus on something specific, well, taking too much information might distract them. So, but depending on how I'm going to potentially start, definitely the one series, Kabbalah, Great Work, Self-Transformation, and potentially the Self-Deification, working with, not necessarily Hecate, but that's who I'm going to be referring to, because it was the first one I worked with, first deity, and how all that works and corresponds, and how you can use it with ceremonial magic. That's the plan. Anyways, there's going to be Kabbalah, Great Work, or Self-Transformation, going to be in this description at some point. You might watch it before I get it up there, but it will be there at some point. I'll try to include some videos and shit like that. Check out Frater's videos, all of them. They're all fucking great. And yeah, that's enough for me for today. I hope I didn't leave anything open. Any comments, go fire away. There's somebody who I'm going to be talking about shortly. Someone who gave me some compliments a while back, and I wanted to direct people to look at their videos for to watch their videos and check out their online stuff they have to offer for sale and all that. But I haven't technically purchased anything yet myself. I have watched many of their videos, and they're actually fucking top notch, really well done. So I'm going to be doing that shortly. I just want to make sure I do it right. So that's why I haven't done that yet. Anyways, that's basically just for that person if they still watch. But anyways, nonetheless, thank you everybody for watching me. I do really appreciate everybody who tunes in. And yeah, stay tuned for all that crap I just talked about. And have yourselves a great fucking Mercury Day. Thoughts? Banishing part of the moon, you can banish all your shitty thoughts if you want. If you've been using both energies and you think you're good, you can banish and invoke anytime you want. It's up to you. But Mercury, check if he's retrograde or not. I'm not going to tell you. Check if he's retrograde or not. Using the retrograde, it's using the trickster part of Mercury. So think of it as using a tricky. In Frederick Xavier's words, using the trickster Mercury, he's had great success saying, wouldn't it be funny if, let's say you get picked on at school. Wouldn't it be funny if everybody who picks on me just started liking me and I was free from being picked on? That's the way to approach Mercury in his trickster capacity. Now, Mercury going straight, I would just use what he's good at, which Mercury's good at a lot of things, so you got a lot of leeway there. But when he's going normal, same way I do everything else. Grateful, thankful for, I am grateful, thankful for Mercury. Give them credit, offer the candle and the incense to them, and anything else you decide to offer to them, the more the merrier. And yeah, there you go. Have yourselves a great fucking hump Mercury Day.